Good morning, students. The last three sessions we have discussed about the beam strength of the spur gear, then Lewis form factor, then third one is the effective tooth load in spur gear, and today we are going to see the second criteria of design, wear strength of gear tooth. Now let us see what we are going to discuss in this topic. The main objective of this topic means after this session you will be able to apply this, the criteria, wear strength criteria for the design of spur gear. And as discussed in earlier session, there are two criteria. One is the beam strength and second one is the wear strength. Wear strength is also known as the pitting failure. What do you mean by pitting failure? Pitting is a surface fatigue failure, or you can say the surface fatigue phenomena. In this case, small pits are observed on the surface of the gear tooth. And when these small pits are going to observe on the surface of gear tooth, when the contact stresses between the two meshing teeth exceed the surface endurance strength, that means to transmit the power or emotion, when the gear teeth comes in contact, when they are in contact stresses are going to induce in it. And when these contact stresses or magnitude of this contact stresses exceeds the surface endurance strength, and you know very well surface endurance strength, which is associated with the fluctuating load. Many times we have discussed how to improve these surface endurance strength. Also I will elaborate during this discussion of wear strength of gear tooth. The important one, pitting failure or wear of the gear tooth occurs when contact stresses between the two meshing teeth exceed the surface endurance strength of the material. Material means material used for the pinion or material used for the gear, based on that. But how to avoid this? To avoid this, the wear strength of the gear tooth should be more than the effective load between the meshing teeth. And I am going to write here this wear strength is denoted by SW, and this SW should be greater than P effective. In last session, Professor V.K. Patil already discussed or revise the topic effective tooth load in gear tooth or spur gear tooth. So you will find P effective that we are going to calculate by two aspects. One is the by considering the velocity factor, and second one is the by dynamic factor, Buckingham's dynamic factor PD, and second one is by using pitch line velocity or velocity factor. Now here, to avoid this SW should be greater than P effective. This is the important criteria to avoid this failure. And when these contact stresses are greater than the surface endurance strength of the material, then there may be possibility of pitting failure. Try to understand. There may be possibility of pitting failure. Now this is one thing that you have to take the care. Beam strength, wear strength should be greater than the effective load. This is one aspect. But here, second one, how to increase the wear strength? The question may arise in your mind. How to increase this wear strength? The first one is the proportions of the gear tooth. During the revision already we have discussed the how much is the face width of the gear tooth, how much is the size of the gear tooth, how much is the module of the gear tooth. The proportion of the gear tooth plays the important role. Second one is the surface properties plays the important role. And in surface properties, surface hardness. By improving the surface hardness of the gear tooth, we can improve or increase the wear strength of the gear tooth also. Try to understand. That means, as I told you, when the contact stresses becomes the greater than the surface endurance strength, that time what would happen? There may be pitting failure or the wear failure of the gear. But you have a choice to increase the surface hardness up to certain limit to avoid this failure. Try to understand. It's a remedy, or you can take the appropriate action by or doing the treatment process. You can improve the surface hardness or increase the surface hardness. By doing this also you can increase the wear strength or pitting strength, you can say in another word. Try to understand. But here, how to find out this wear strength? That is the important thing. In last session we have discussed How to calculate the SB? SB means beam strength is equal to M into B into sigma B into Y. In this case, we have to calculate SW, wear strength of the spur gear. Now let us see how to calculate it. For this purpose, Mr. Arlie Buckingham in 1926 presented his research in front of here one of the body, you know very well, AGMA, American Gear Manufacturing Association. And here he used one equation, Buckingham's equation. That equation, which is accepted by the AGMA, American Gear Manufacturing Association, and generally until that we are using the same equation to find out the wear strength of the gear tooth. The Buckingham's equation, which is used to find out the wear strength of the gear tooth. Now let us see what is that equation. For that purpose, let us see. Now here wear strength or Buckingham's equation. Now let us see. Now this theory or Buckingham's equation is based on Hertz theory of contact stresses. You might have gone the Hertz theory in material science or the metallurgy also. You know very well what is going to happen. Look at this. Here this is cylinder 1. This is cylinder 2. When they are pressed together, here you will find there is a contact between the cylinder 1 and the cylinder 2. But because of this, when these two cylinders are pressed, what is happening at the contact? Here contact stresses are going to induce here. And here these contact stresses are shown here. This is the magnitude width of this contact stress, or you can say this rectangular area. Because if I am going to construct, it's like this. You know very well, it's like this, a cylinder. So what is happening here? You will get one patch of rectangular cross section. You will get one rectangle is having the width 2b and length is equal to L, which is equal to the length of cylinder. Now here, due to this deformation, when these two cylinders are pressed, contact stresses are going to induce, and because of this deformation, you will get one rectangular surface, as I have told here. This surface, try to understand here. Look at the cursor, this surface here. Which surface? Here, this. At this section, you will get this patch. Rectangular surface is having width 2b here I have shown, and length L. Along this length L is the length of cylinder. Now here, according to this Buckingham and Hertz theory of contact stress, these contact stresses are given by the equation, or is given by the equation sigma c is equal to 2 into P upon pi into B into L. Try to understand here. Now B is the pitch width. Now here what we have to do, instead of a cylinder, you can consider it's a gear teeth. And yet where the gear teeth comes in contact to transmit the power during the rotation. So this point is the pitch point. So you know very well here what we have to do. The length of the cylinder you can consider is the face width, that is B. Diameter of the small cylinder D1, you can see the PCD of the pinion. D2 is the diameter of the another big cylinder, but you can see is the diameter of the gear. And by using this analogy, you can derive the expression for gear tooth. The contact stress, which is given by the equation here, sigma c is equal to this equation 2p upon pi into b into L. L is the length of the cylinder, B the width. Here we are going to consider or taking into account. I will elaborate that. Then P is the force. Force means this P. It is subjected to this force P. When they are pressed together, cylinders, this force P. This is sigma C is the contact stress. And you know very well, contact stress is a compressive stress. And again here, one important point, I am not going to derive directly. We have written the equation where this B is equal to, or this B. Look at this. At this portion, total width of this contact region, which is given by the width 2B. So what we have to do, but the half width of this contact region, that is, it's 2B means from this side B and this side B, try to understand, you will get 2B. This B is given by this expression. 1/2 means in under root, or 2P in bracket 1 minus B square bracket complete into 1 by E1 plus 1 by E2 bracket complete by pi L upon 1 by D1 plus 1 by D2 bracket complete, whole bracket complete raised to 1 by 2. It's a B. So what you have to do? You have to substitute this B here. Try to understand. This is given according to Hertz contact trace theory. So I would like to give a small assignment to you. It's okay. It's a simple one. Force upon a area, and this area we have taken into account where the cylinders are coming in contact. Because of this, the contact stresses are given by this, is given by this equation. Okay, but how this B is given, you can derive it at home, and in many design books you will find the expression for this half of the rectangular surface or the width, that is B is equal to. You can refer any reference book and try to derive this expression. Okay, I hope you got this point. The contact stress induced is given by this expression, and B is equal to this value. Okay, now let us see. Again, the same thing I have shown here, the contact stress area. And you know very well the cam and follower, then the rolling element, that is ball in ball bearing, then gears. Here, their hertz or contact stresses are going to induce. But there is a elastic deformation. At that time, at that instant, there is a small elastic deformation of a pinion or gear tooth of the pinion and gear tooth of the gear, which is going to happen. It's elastic deformation. And when it is going to rotate, when there is no contact between the gear tooth, that time there is no deformation. Try to understand. That's why while designing or when they are in contact, which type of stresses are going to induce in it, the deformation is also plays the important role. Try to understand. And you know very well, while expressing the second criteria, final design of the gear by using the Buckingham's equation for dynamic load, the 21 V C into EB, the C is the deformation factor. It takes the care of that, and which is totally depends on modulus of elasticity of the material, which is for the pinion as well as the gear. You know very well that we have already discussed. Now let us see how to derive the expression. As per the, again, I am going to say sigma is the maximum value of compressive stress, is the nomenclature. Then P is the force that presses the two cylinder together. Then B, I have already told, half width of the deformation, that is, which is shown here. If you would like to see, once again, I will show here. This total 2B, the half one is the B. Try to understand. Then L is the axial length of the cylinder that I have already discussed. Axial length of the cylinder. D1 and D2 diameters of the two cylinders. E1 into modulus of elasticity of two cylindrical materials, which is given Newton per mm square, and mu is the Poisson's ratio. So what we have to do now? We have to substitute the earlier equation that I have asked to derive here, which is given in many books. What we have to do? You have to substitute. Look at this. This equation B is equal to here in this equation, and find out sigma C. That we have to do. Now let us see. After substituting this value, I have written here, substitute the value of B in equation of contact stress. What you will get? This equation you will get. But here you will get sigma C square is equal to 1 by pi 1 minus mu square P by L. Everything is substituted here. You will get this expression. Then here, instead of D1 and D2, here which is converted into R1 and R2. That means it is in terms of radius. Why radius are taken, I will explain later on. Why not D1 and D2? Because at the pitch point contact, the R1 and R2 plays the important role. I will elaborate later on. But here, this D1 and D2 replaced by R1 and R2. It's a radii of the two cylinders. Okay. And then second one, what you have to do? Substitute mu here, the Poisson's ratio is equal to 0.3. After substituting this value, then pi is equal to 3.14. Then D is equal to 2, D1 is equal to 2R1, D2 is equal to 2R2. You will get this expression. And this is important equation you can note down. Because based on this equation, we are going to derive the wear strength equation. You will get sigma C square is equal to 0.3 pi in bracket P by L in bracket 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 bracket complete upon 1 by E1 plus 1 by E2. Try to understand. And this equation is very important. You can note down this equation because we are going to use this equation to find out the wear strength of the spur gear. Try to understand. Now let us see how to find out the wear strength. This equation, because I am going to use this equation later on also. Okay. Next. Now what we have to do? Now here in this case, why we have replaced this D1 and D2 by R1 and R2. Because look at this here, dp by 2 is the pitch circle diameter of the pinion by 2. Now here dg means PCD of the gear, dg by 2 means radius is the center. This is also the center. You can see it's O dash O. It's your choice. Look at this here, gear here, the gear tooth of the ear, gear teeth of the gear, and this side pinion gear teeth. They are missing at this point here. I am marking here circle. Now from this point here, this point is denoted by R2 and this distance is R1. Try to understand R1 and R2. Now here, why this R1 and R2 plays the important role? The radii R1 and R2 be replaced by the radius of curvature. Because in first case, D1 and D2 are replaced for the cylinder by R1 and R2. R1 and R2. And this R1 and R2, we are going to replace here by the radii of curvature at the pitch point. This radii of curvature at the pitch point. Look at this. Here, gear teeth and the pinion teeth, they are coming in contact. This point is which point? Pitch point. And you know very well, when only one pair of teeth which is in contact, then that one pair takes the load and contact occurs at the pitch point. And you know very well, wear occurs at or near the pitch line or the pitch point. And when only one pair is in contact, that means wear is going to occur. Wear means pitting is going to occur at the pitch point. And if dynamic load is imposed on the gear tooth, and due to that, you will find wear or pitting which is going to occur near the pitch line area. That's why in this case, we are replacing radii R1 and R2 by the radius of curvature. This is R2 and this is R1 because it's a pitch line. You know very well. So that's why we have to take into account the pitch point when one pair in contact and when there is a dynamic load. So you know very well, pitting or the wear is going to occur nearer to this pitch line. And that's why pitch line plays the important role. That's why this R1 and R2 plays the important role. That's why radii R1 and R2 replaced by radii of curvature at the pitch point. Radii of curvature at the pitch point means this R2 and R1. This is the logic. Try to understand. And now look at the figure. After referring this figure, you will find this is R1 for this pinion. And if I am going to consider this triangle, this is R1. You know very well, sine alpha is equal to, what is this? This is dp by this. Suppose you can take into account dp by 2. What is this? This is R1 and sine alpha means front side upon hypotenuse. Similarly, you can use the another triangle or this triangle here for the gear. So what you will get here? Again, sine alpha is equal to, this is R2 and again here this is, what is this? This distance dg by 2. You have to use this triangle. The sine alpha is equal to, we have to use sine alpha is equal to, you have to use this geometry. By using this geometry, you will get R1 is equal to dp, don't use dash, only just use dp. dp into sine alpha by 2. dp is the pitch circle diameter of the pinion, sine alpha by 2. And R2 is equal to dg, don't use dash, dg into sine alpha by 2. We have a R1 and we have a R2. And we have taken into consideration the radius of curvature at the pitch point. I have discussed why we have taken into account this. These two equations are important because these two equations we are going to use in our earlier equation. Let us see how to use it. Now, again, now let us find out 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. Why we are determining this 1 by R1 and R2? Look at this. As I have discussed, this equation is very important for us. In this equation, the one term is there, 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2. That means we have to find out the magnitude of this bracket. Try to understand. And now let us see how to find out it. For this purpose, again, we have to go towards this slide here. I will show you. Look at this. Come to this. How to find out this? 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 is equal to, now already you know R1, you know R2, that I have discussed on earlier slide here. R1 is equal to what? This dp sin alpha by 2. R2 is equal to dg, don't use dash, dg sin and dg sin alpha by 2 and dp sin alpha by 2, R1 and R2. You can substitute there. After substituting these values, what you will get here? Let us see. After substituting these values, you will get 2 upon sin alpha here. 2 upon sin alpha in bracket 1 upon dp and 1 upon dg. This you will get the value. Then again another important factor, ratio factor, you can define here. Ratio factor is the your ratio of 2 Zg upon Zg plus Zp, and this is applicable to external meshing gears. Write down, note down here, external meshing gear ratio factor is Q, which is equal to 2 Zg by Zg plus Zp. It is this equation is applicable to what? For external meshing gear or external gears. You know external, look at this. This is external gear. You can see it's a pinion here, a gear. And internal gear means is having the teeth inside, and another gear which is missing, that is internal gear. It is not applicable to internal gear. For external gears, Q ratio factor 2 Zg by Zg. Zg means number of teeth on gear. Zp means number of teeth on pinion. And again, what you have to do? You can substitute dg is equal to m into zg. Then dp is equal to m into zp. You know very well this expression. You can substitute here. M gets, you will get the common gets cancelled, and at the end you will get here what? 2 into remove this dash, 2 into dg upon dg plus dp. How to find out? By substitute dg, that is dp is equal to m zg and dp is equal to m zp and dg is equal to m zg. Okay. Okay. Then here, so you have this expression. You have q is equal to this expression. Now let us find out the another term here. Look at this. This is the another term, because we have to replace this. But in this term, 1 upon dp plus 1 upon dg is the term that we have to find out. Now here I am writing this term here, 1 upon dp plus 1 upon dg. So you can do the cross multiplication. You will get dg, what you have to do? The addition. Okay. After addition, what you will get? dp plus dg upon dg dp. It's like, you know, the LCM that you have to take. dp plus dg by upon dp into dg. Okay. But here we have derived, we know that Q, the ratio factor, Q is equal to what? 2 dg upon dg plus dp. Now I am going to substitute dp into dg upon this. So you can substitute here the value by using this expression. Q is equal to this expression. So you can substitute this value here. You will get this term. Okay. Then you have this value for this term. So you can substitute. How to substitute this value? I am going to show. Look at this. This is equal to this way. Barabar. But here, what is this bracket? This bracket is nothing but this. You can substitute here. 2 into 2, you will get 4. Then Q, here I have written Q. Again here this dp, you can write this dp. And again this sin alpha, here sin alpha. So what you will get here? This term, 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 is equal to 4 upon Q into dp into sin alpha, this value. Then remember one thing, at the pitch point where gear tooth comes in contact, where the force which is acting along the pitch line, last time we have solved one question, find out the resultant force acting at the meshing gear teeth. You know, the one gate exam questions given to you in last week. Now here, how to find out the force acting along the pitch line? So you know very well, this force P is equal to Pt upon cos alpha. force P is equal to PT upon cos alpha. So what we have to do, in earlier equation 1, we can replace P by PT cos alpha. Try to understand. And therefore, look at this. Once again, I will repeat here. So what we have to do, refer equation 1 in this equation. Once again, it's very important equation. P is equal to PT upon cos alpha. You have to substitute now. PT cos alpha. 1 upon R1 and R2. What you have to substitute? 4 upon B into dP into this relation that you have to substitute. We have already derived. And L is equal to, for a L is the length of the cylinder which are pressed together, but for a gear, you know, the L is equal to face width, that is B. So we have to replace this L by B. Or we have to substitute all these value. P is equal to PT cos alpha, 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 is equal to 4 upon this term, and then the L is equal to B in this equation, and we will get the final equation sigma C square is equal to, let us see how you will get this equation. After substituting all the values here, this value, then P is equal to PT cos alpha and L is equal to B. What you will get? Sigma C square is equal to, from equation 1, 1.4 PT upon B into Q into dP into sin alpha into cos alpha in bracket 1 upon E1 plus 1 upon E2. You will get this equation. Now, what we have to do, this in these many terms are there. So for that purpose, we are going to define load stress factor K. The load stress factor K, which is defined, look at this here. Sigma C square into sin alpha into cos alpha in bracket. So what you have to do, you can, this term cos alpha into sin alpha, this term you can send towards this side and divide by this 1.4, you will get this term is equal to K. The defining here one factor, that is load stress factor K, sigma C square into sin alpha into cos alpha in bracket 1 upon E1 plus 1 upon E2 bracket complete upon 1 by 4. That means this term you have to send towards this side, and this 1.4 divided to this term, and again here we will get the K. And at the last, what you will get, if I am going to write K is equal to, look at this from this equation, PT upon B into Q into dP. Okay, you will get this term. Instead of dash, don't use dash. Many times I have told you. So you will get, because I have replaced K means this sigma C square into this term divided by 1.4 is the key load stress factor. So what you will get, K is equal to PT upon B into, this is Q, ratio factor into dP. And then you can find out the PT. The PT is equal to what you will get, B into Q into dP into K. Try to understand this PT. PT is the tangential force, B is the face width, Q is the ratio factor, dP is the circle diameter of the pinion, and K is the load stress factor defined by this equation. Sometimes the value of K may not be given. This load stress factor, you have to use this expression sigma C square, compressive stress, sin alpha and cos alpha. Alpha is the pressure angle, E1 E2 is the modulus of elasticity of the material which is used for pinion as well as the gear. Try to understand. By using this equation, you can find out the load stress factor. So what you will get, PT is equal to this. But like a beam strength, you know, in beam strength also, look at this. Beam strength also equation was PT is equal to, I am writing for beam strength, M into sigma B into M into sigma B into B into Y. Y is the Lewis factor, B is the face width, sigma B is the bending stress, M is the model. But PT we have replaced by SB. When? Because PT is the maximum tangential force that the gear tooth can sustain without bending failure, and is known as the bending strength. The PT is replaced by SBs. In similar way, we are going to replace here this PT by SW. Try to understand. SW is the wear strength or pitting strength. And when we are going to replace it, so we have to state this PT is replaced by SW, and SW is the wear strength. So what do you mean by wear strength? Wear strength is also a maximum tangential force that gear tooth can sustain without pitting failure or wear failure. And when we are going to say like this, then and then you can replace the maximum tangential force up to which gear tooth can sustain, which is replaced by SW, that is the wear strength. And when, suppose, when this tangential force, it exceeds the wear strength, so what would happen? Gear tooth are going to fail because of pitting or because of wear. Try to understand. And that's why we have to replace the PT by SW. And here you will get the final equation. SW is equal to B into Q into dP into K. You have to remember this equation. And always dP should be there. What would happen? Now suppose, as discussed in earlier session, Lewis form factor, when the pinion and gears are made of same material. So you know very well which is weaker, pinion is weaker. And if you have to find out the wear strength, this equation is applicable. If pinion and gears are made of different material, then the product sigma B into Y decides which one is the weaker, whether the pinion is weaker or whether the gear is weaker. Suppose when sigma B into Y, which is less for gear, and we are saying gear is weaker, and we have to design the gear first by using the wear strength theory. That time equation is BQ dP K. So don't use DZ here, even though gear is weaker. It doesn't have any relation with this, whether the gear is weaker or pinion is weaker. In relation of SW, dP is always there. Try to understand. Try to understand. The SW is equal to B into Q into dP into K. That you have to remember. So PT, why PT is replaced by SW? The PT is the maximum tangential, or SW is the maximum tangential force that tooth can sustain without pitting failure or wear failure. I hope you got it this point. Okay. Then next point, wear strength, that I have already mentioned to you. Once again, I will read. Tangential force, you know very well what is happening as the PT increases. What is the relation? PT is equal to now B into Q into dP into K. B is the phase width, Q is the factor, depends on ZJ and ZP, dP is the PCD. As the PT increases, K is also going to increase, load correction factor, K. And when this K reaches or it increases, so because of this K, contact stress is also going to increase. And when this contact reaches to surface endurance strength, what would happen? Pitting failure or wear failure occurs. And therefore, so what we have to do, we have to take the limit of PT or maximum limit of the PT or maximum magnitude of the PT up to which that gear tooth can sustain without the pitting failure. Without the pitting failure. Try to understand. This maximum value of tangential force is called as wear strength. Okay. This is about the wear strength. Now second point is ratio factor. I have already told you for the external gears. What is Q? External gears? 2ZG upon ZG plus ZP. Here sign is plus. But when it is up, when we are going to find out the ratio factor for internal gear, here negative sign. Try to understand. ZP minus ZV. This equation you have to use, and this equation is applicable for external meshing gears. Try to understand. Now let us see one important point that is remaining. I will cover. Now, how to find out the load stress factor? If it's given, you can directly take the K. If it's not given, you have to use this expression. K is equal to sigma C square sin alpha into cos alpha in bracket 1 upon U1 plus 1 upon E2 upon 1.4. Try to understand. Now here, suppose one example I am taking. If gears are made of same material with 20-degree pressure angle, made of steel. Suppose take the steel is having the modulus of elasticity, that is 2,600,000 Newton per mm square, and pressure angle is 20. According to Niemann, sigma C compressive stress, which is given 27 BHN in kgf per mm square. You can convert kgf into Newton by multiplying 9.81. So you will get here sigma sigma C is equal to 0.27 into 9.81 into BHN Newton per mm square. Try to understand. Sigma C. Suppose substitute this sigma C. If both means pinion and gears are made up of steel, having E1 and E2, that is 2,06,000 Newton per mm square. So what we have to do? Sigma C is equal to, I am going to substitute this value 0.27, 9.81 into BHN, but sigma C square, that's why whole year bracket square. Okay, sin alpha cos alpha, alpha pressure angle, how much? 20 degree, cos alpha 20 degree. 1 by E1 modulus of elasticity, made up of same material, same value, 2 upon year 2,06,000 upon 1.4. So here when you are going to solve for steel having modulus of elasticity 2,06,000 and alpha is equal to this, so you will get K is equal to load stress factor, K is equal to 0.156 BHN by 100 bracket square. And instead of writing 0.156, we can convert into 0.16. K is equal to, in general, 0.16 BHN by 100 bracket square. Now, why I am telling this? If gears, pinion and gears are made up of steel, if you don't know this E1, E2 and other values, so directly you can use this expression K is equal to load stress factor K 0.16 BHN by 100 bracket square. By using this equation, you will get the value of K, and in SW, you know very well, it's a B into dP into Q into K. So you can substitute this K here. Try to understand. Okay, this is about when this equation, E1, E2 not given. If it's given, you can use this expression. If not given, material same, you can use directly this expression K is equal to. Then question arises, if pinion and gear are made of different materials. Suppose pinion is made up of steel and gear is made up of cast iron. If they are made up of steel and cast iron, that time you have to use the value of E for steel, E2 for cast iron, then pressure angle which involves system, you can find out the K. That time you will get the expression K is equal to 0.18 in bracket BHN upon 100 and bracket square. When they are made up of cast iron and steel, try to understand combination. And again question arises, third case, when pinion and gears are made of cast iron, only cast iron, that time you will get K is equal to 0.21. Try to understand. What is the value of this? 0.21 in bracket BHN, again BHN upon 100 bracket square. This is another expression. Three expression. When they are made up of steel, when they are made up of steel and cast iron, and third one is they are made up of cast iron. Sometimes in examination directly given they are made up of cast iron, and even the students are using the equation 0.16 BHN by 100 bracket square. When it is mentioned both made up of cast iron, you have to go for the equation K is equal to 0.21 in bracket BHN by 100 bracket square. Or otherwise you can use this expression if sigma C, or by using this expression you can put this value E1, E2 are given, not given, directly you can use these standard equations for different materials. Okay, in this way you can determine the load stress factor. Once you know all the values, how to design it, how to find out the model. So you know very well, as in first slide I have told you, to avoid the wear failure or to avoid the fitting failure, SW should be greater than P effective. SW should be greater than P effective. If I am going to write, the SW should be is equal to P effective into FOS. P effective into FOS, where SW is calculated by using relation B into Q into dP into K. And P effective depends on whether you are using velocity factor or you are using dynamic load factor by using Buckingham's equation. Based on that, if you are using velocity factor, the P or pitch line velocity, P effective you can calculate by using this equation CSPT by CV. If you are using Buckingham's dynamic load equation, P effective is given by CSPT plus PD, and this PD is equal to again 21 VE in bracket CEV plus PT. You know very well this equation. PD is equal to upon 21 V plus under root there CEV plus PT. By using this expression, where is the error, that is small e is equal to EP plus EG. This error depends on the manufacturing method and grades of the gears which are manufactured by different methods. C is the deformation factor, B is the pace width, T is the tangential force, V is the pitch line velocity, that is pi dm by 60. In this way, you can find out the P effective and FOS that you have to take into account while designing the spur gear in the range of 0.1 to 0.12. And in this way, you can find out the module here, B into Q into dP, B in terms of 10 times the module, or dP may be in terms time the module in terms of the module. In this way, you can use this expression. You can find out the FOS or the hot factor of safety. Now, as we have conducted near about 4 sessions, the first one, how to calculate the SB, that is by using the equation M into B into sigma B into Y. Second one is the find out the P effective load by using velocity factor and Buckingham dynamic load factor equation. And third one is the wear strength HW and the physical significance of the Lewis form factor. Now we are suppose while designing it, you have used the approach gears and gear and pinion made up of different material. You have checked which one is the weaker and started your design. Again, question arises whether gear should be designed on the SB or SW. Again, what you have to do, you have to calculate the SB. Suppose you have decided gear is weaker, you can calculate SB per gear, you can calculate SW per gear, and then check whether SB is greater or SW is greater. SB is greater or SW is greater, and whichever is lower, by considering that strength, you can design the gear. That means lower strength, if it is going to sustain, it is going to sustain for the higher values of that strength. Try to understand. In this way, you have to design the spur gear. Next time, tomorrow, we will take one example how to design the spur gear based on this. Okay. Thank you. I have referred B.B. Bhandari's book for this session. Thank you. If you have any query, you please contact to me through this WhatsApp number or mail me at bbkushare@kkwork.edu.